All right, guys, so today we're going to work on solving equations. And all of the equations that we're going to have are going to be a little bit more complicated. They're going to be multi step equations. So these aren't just going to be simple one or two step ones. The biggest thing I want you to remember when you're solving an equation is you're trying to figure out what value would that variable have to be so that the whole thing is true. In other words, that the two sides work out equal to each other. So in this case, I'm trying to figure out what value can x be so that 2 times x plus 3 is the same thing as I get when 6 times that value minus 18. And I've kind of already pointed it out, but let's make sure we all notice we've got x's on both sides of our equation. So always check for that because one of your first things you're going to want to make sure you do is get all the x's together on one side. So before we can get all the x's over on one side together, I need to distribute this too. When I've got a number out in front of a parentheses, I want to go ahead and distribute it to each of the numbers inside the parentheses. When I'm distributing, that means I'm multiplying. So 2 times x is 2x. 2 times 3 is 6. So I'm going to have 2x plus 6 is equal to 6x minus 18. Okay, so now I need to get the x's together on one side. Took care of that distribution. This is where you can choose. I can move the 2x over here with the 6x, or I can move the 6x over here with the 2x. It doesn't matter as long as you do it correctly, as long as you keep it balanced. Whatever you do to one side, you have to do to the other side. I'm going to move the 2x because I want to keep my x terms positive. So in order to move it, this is a positive 2x. So I want to subtract it from both sides because 2x minus 2x is 0. And just remember, if you do it on one side of the equation, you have to do it on the other side of the equation. So that equal sign is like a balance scale. So I can't just take weight off one side. My scale wouldn't be balanced anymore. So if I take it off one side, I have to take it off both sides. All right, so now the two x's cancel each other out. And I've got 6 is equal to 6x minus 2x. I'm just subtracting the coefficients, so 6 minus 2 is 4. So this will be 4x minus 18. So all the x's together, I have only one x term on one side of my equation. But I really want this x term to be all by itself. I don't want anything else going on near it. So now I need to move this negative 18 over here. So since it's negative 18 or minus 18, I'm going to have to add 18 to both sides to cancel it out on one side. So negative 18 plus 18 is 0. It's canceled out. All I have left on this side is 4x, and 6 plus 18 is 24. So I'm almost there. I've got only an x term over here, but my ultimate goal is to find out what 1x is equal to, not what 4x's are equal to. So at this point, I need to figure out 4 times what value will give me 24. And so in order to do that, since these two are being multiplied, I do the inverse, which is division on both sides. 4 divided by 4, the 4's cancel out, and I'm left with just x. I'm going to write it over here because I'm running out of space. 24 divided by 4 is 6. So I just figured out that 6 is my answer. In this one, I've got parentheses on both sides, so I'm going to distribute on both sides of the equation, kind of all in one step. So this one, be really careful. This is distributing a negative. In other words, I'm multiplying everything by -1. You can think of that as having a 1 right there, but we don't have to write the 1. So this will become negative m, and then -1 times 5 will become -5. On the other side, show you what I did there, sorry. The other side, I'm distributing the 3 to everything. So 3 times 3m is 9m, and 3 times -5 means I'm going to have minus 15. All right, now notice I've got an m on both sides of the equation. I don't want to leave it like that. So I can move the negative m to this side, or I can move the 9m over here. Doesn't matter. I'll switch it up just to show you. So the last time we moved our m's to the this side, I'm going to move this way. So I'm going to subtract 9m. I'm subtracting 9m because positive 9 minus 9 is 0. They cancel out. So I have negative 10m minus 5 equals negative 15. Now I have only one variable term, one m term in my whole problem. But it's not by itself. It has a minus 5 with it. So now I need to get rid of that. So since this is subtraction, I'm going to do the inverse. I'm going to add 5 to both sides. Negative 5 plus 5 cancels out. I'm left with negative 10m is equal to negative 10. So now I need to divide both sides by, well, let's look at it. I have negative 10m by itself, only one term here and one term here. I want the m all by itself. Since these two are multiplied, I'm going to divide both sides by the coefficient. Negative 10 divided by negative 10 is 1. So m is equal to, and on this side I actually have negative 10 divided by negative 10, which is 1. So in this problem, m is equal to 1. So in both of these problems, the value that we found for the variable, this one, was 6. It means if I went back up in the problem and I replaced each of these x's with 6, I would get that the two sides of the equation are equal to each other. In this one, if I went back up to the original problem, or really any step in the problem, and replaced each of the variables with a 1, I would find that the two sides were equal to each other. And in your classwork assignment, a lot of your problems are going to look like this. A lot of them do involve distribution, so be careful, especially if you're distributing a negative. And when you get your answer, in the box below the problem, I wouldn't type m is equal to 1, you're just going to type the 1. So in this case, you would just type the 1, not the m also. And if you've done it correctly, a new colored box will appear connecting you to your next problem. So sometimes you're moving sideways, sometimes you might be moving up or down. So you have to get the problem right in order for that box to appear. So if nothing happens, then that means you've made a mistake. Go back and check your work. And as always, you can email Miss Webster and myself, and we'll help you through the problems. But don't try to move on until you get that box, because there are 20 problems in the maze, and you only have to solve 10 of them. So you need to know which 10 those are. So you got to get them right in order to figure out which one comes next.